Okay, so you've just seen Orin been taken from the bar, and you asked me about your contact on Naboo. As you're thinking about your contact on Naboo, you kind of have a bit of a daydream, and we go back to the beginning of when Lynn first left her father's custody, let's say. Tink isn't with you. You've managed to escape without Tink. Poor Tink. So where did Lynn go first? What did she do?
I don't actually know. I haven't thought it through. I don't have the whole sequence of events, but she would have gone somewhere where she had a contact. Just somewhere that she'd met someone who wasn't in her father's employ. Just someone out of there.
Yeah.
So it would have been, but it would have been a very short time, I imagine, before she joined the surgeon.
Okay. So. Okay. So do you not want to go back to where she began, or do you want to just do what you did between? Do you want? Should we do Lynn's origin later? How she came from there to give more time to think, or it's up to you.
I don't really know how fleshed out I want to make her backstory.
Okay. No
Um,
worries.
just because I haven't thought through the details too much.
Okay. No worries. Well, let's play out Naboo where we currently are, because then it's a little bit of a sort of solo point up until that point. So let's start again. So Orin has just been marched out of the bar by these Imperial officers who he tried to take a cylinder code from, but unfortunately failed. Um, he is pushed out of the saloon doors, and from that point, you don't really see what happens, depending on where you go. But what you do see is probably less than 20 seconds later, the same officers come back in, but they don't have Orin with them.
Okay, so my assumption there is that the police station is pretty close to the bar.
Maybe, maybe.
I mean, it's possible they handed him off to someone, but it's likely that it's just around the corner.
Okay, let's say that Lynn leaves the bar, nonchalant, trying not to draw attention to herself.
So her what she would like to do is try and carry on with what Orin was interested in. He wanted to get a uniform, right? So she knows that he's going to be processed, and there's no time to try and make a breakout in those first few hours, right? While there's high intensity getting processed, all of that shit needs to happen before she can even try and come up with a story to get him out. So she's going to use that opportunity to try and carry on getting a uniform that Orin can then use to for the prison break. So at the end of the last session, we we she discovered that the uniforms that the prison guards wear is different to the standard police, right? And then the guy kind of lost interest because she was a little bit too nosy.
Hmm.
So then he was like, okay, well, I'm out. And then he left. So she'll kind of hang around the bar for a little bit to see if anyone with the new uniforms comes in. Otherwise, she'll start coming up with another plan.
Okay. So let's say you stay there for an hour, approximately, watching the world go by inside the bar. The Imperial officers are getting slightly more drunk. There's a few people that have come on to you during that time who you've just brushed off as your trained demeanour. Brushed them off, not interested. Nobody comes into here wearing any particular different uniform after that time. You see other officers come and join. There seems to be a lot of officers here, but you don't see anyone that comes in wearing a different uniform or a different insignia or a different hat or anything like that. It seems to be you're in an officer bar, as it were, from that perspective.
Okay, cool. Then she'll be ready to leave.
Okay. So as you leave, no one stops you. No one's paid. You've been in this bar for an hour. No one's paid you any heed other than people that have tried to try it on. And you've just pushed them off. You leave through the saloon doors as I installed, and you notice that looking at the buildings around, well, there's nothing in this square that you're in with this bar that works as a police station or a security station, especially an imperial security station. So where did Orin go? Especially if that officer came back in pretty quick. The square's reasonably busy. It's coming up for evening time. And it's reasonably busy with people going into other food houses, bars, upmarket places. There seems to be quite an array of people in this area. But again, yeah, there doesn't seem to be any buildings marked with the Imperial signature on the front or anything else. That it just looks like a nice place to go with the family. So, how did the officer get back so quick?
Is there anything out of place? Like a store that's closed? Like that shouldn't be. Like, for example, a restaurant that you'd expect to be open at this time of night, but it's not. Or, something that's been abandoned or it's closed up or, just something that's a bit out of place.
Let's have a perception check for that one. This is if you've got the dice roll open. It's a busy place, so we're going to make it hard.
We had a link for the dice roller, didn't we?
Yeah, it's here. Links and cheat sheets.
Oh, it's in our thing. Okay.
I can't show it to you. I don't know why it won't let me.
Journal.
So
There it must be all in.
Yes. So you.
What was the channel name?
Channel name is Dan's Game. DANS Game.
Sorry, I'm just on the laptop at the moment. So.
No problem.
Okay. Cool. I am there. You wanted perception, so now I've got to get my character sheets. Here we go. Perception is cunning based, so 3 greens.
That's the one.
What difficulty?
3 purple.
Oh, fuck me.
Okay. Could you also roll me 1 force die, please?
Yeah, sure. No, don't get evil. Oh, no!
Well, I'll leave it like that then. Okay, so you look around this square. You don't spot any restaurants or bars or shops or anything that isn't open. This is a busy square for people coming along for drinking. You do notice, though, that there is a patrol, but they're not wearing Imperial uniform. They look like a local security force. But they're just walking along. Doesn't seem to be like there's ever any trouble here. They're just casually strolling along and keeping the peace, as it were.
All right. I will follow them for a little bit to see if they go into anywhere like close by.
Okay. These particular gentlemen that you follow, the security team, they don't. They're out on foot patrol. They're just wandering this square. They're literally walking in a square inside this actual square we're in. You would guess after a short while of following them around, maybe twice, that they are literally just on patrol here. You could wait out longer to see if they go anywhere else, but
no, if they're not leaving the area and they're not going in anywhere, then Lynn will approach them, and she'll just have a chat with them, like, "Oh, good evening, officers." Kind of playing up the damsel in distress a bit.
Good evening, madam. How can we help you?
Well, a dear friend of mine was arrested by Imperial officers this evening, and I was wondering if you could please direct me to where he would have been taken.
Oh, yes, of course, madam. He'll be down in the security processing area, and they draw up their data pad, and it pings up on a map, and it just shows you a direction to where it would be, and you can either memorize it or write it down in your data pad inside of you. But it's, 4 or 5 blocks away in the Ministry of Justice area.
Do I think it's close enough that the guards could have gotten there and back in the short time that they did?
No.
No.
No, not close enough for the time span that they walked out and walked back in.
Okay, then I'll. Well, you see, sir, that's the problem that I've been having. Well, I went down there and he's not there. Is it possible that there's a holding cell nearby or something that he could have been taken to?
Well, no, not at all. We only have one building. He must have been in processing. Depends if the sergeant was out. If he was, he wouldn't get processed until the morning. What's his name, madam? And I shall look on my system.
His name was Orin.
Yes, yeah, let's see, an Orin here, a blue-skinned fellow.
That's him.
He's in processing, yep. It doesn't look like he's going to get seen till tomorrow sometime.
And you're sure that he's at that facility?
So it says this.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's amazing. Thank you very much. You've been most helpful.
Good evening. And they walk away.
So now Lynn's a bit confused. How did they get him all the way there and back so quickly? Suspicious. Are the people who arrested him still in the bar, or have they left?
You can go back and look if you peered through.
Just a 1 minute quick look.
Yeah, they're still there, but the guards that you saw are wearing a local security force uniform. These are Imperial officers. One would assume maybe they walked outside, handed him off to the local force, and then walked straight back in the bar.
Yeah.
And that's what you kind of deduce from what you see.
Okay. I will spend another few minutes in the bar trying to find out if there's a place that the prison guards go to have drinks.
You get a varying response, but a lot of them scoff you and say you wouldn't catch that scum drinking in this bar.
Okay, and there's no kind of general name that they drop?
No.
Okay.
The way I'd written these guys were that they were upper class, these are the lower class.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I guess she will make her way over to the prison yard then, the holding area where Orin is.
Okay. So you follow the directions on the map, and it cuts through the town and opens up into I'll use squares. Another big square, Ministry of Justice Square. You can see that there is a courtroom, and you can see that there is the security police station. I'm going to call it police station just for the argument of descriptions. You can see people walking in and out there, uniformed officers and also members of the public. But you can't see any holding area where people are sitting outside. This is Naboo. This is a lovely planet. They're not going to have criminals sitting out the front. They might have a stockade, but there's nothing. No one's sitting out the front, or that you can see in a holding area.
Okay. I guess she's going to go inside and ask about what's happening with the processing.
Okay. So you go in, and it goes into a foyer. There's some chairs, waiting areas, a few vending machines, and there's a glass-fronted office where you can talk to a woman inside. Sergeant's out. No processing till tomorrow.
Is there any way I can reach the sergeant?
Only if you can fly. He's off planet.
Right. Okay. Thank you for your time. And considering this to now be a dead end, because she doesn't have any support, so she can't break Orin out. And she'll be back. She'll find out what time processing is.
The officer will look at the data and go, from about 9 a.m. That's when the court's open.
Okay. And I'll be back at 9 a.m. then. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam.
And then I'll head out. And at this time, Orin's a dead end. He's stuck there for the night. There's nothing that can be done from Lynn's perspective. She doesn't have the support to do like a breakout, especially on a planet that they haven't prepared to break into a planet, like a local police station, if you will. So she will then go and see her contact.
What is the contact called on this planet?
I will have to double check that on my notes. I know he's. Here we go. Contacts. I don't know if that's Mr. White or Minster White.
It's supposed to be minister. I've just realised the spelling mistake myself, so I will go and change it.
Minister White.
There we go. Updated. What you know of Mr. White? So he is here. He's on Naboo, and he trades in livestock. But you met him a while ago, maybe on your journeys while you were still building your business contacts, or it may have been off of another business contact. But he likes to trade in livestock, officially, but unofficially he breeds rare breeds and therefore ships them around the galaxy. But he's here, and you know you've been to his ranch. If you looked on a map or your data pad, you'd work out that he's about 2 to 3, 4 hours travel from here. You could either get a shuttle and it'd be a lot quicker, or you could jump on a speeder, and it will take you a couple of hours to get there.
I'll still jump on a shuttle if there is one available.
Yeah. So we'll just time jump a little bit further. So you book a shuttle and jump on board, and it takes you towards the White Ranch, as everybody knows it around here. Is one of the most famous ranches in the Nabooan area. And the shuttle driver is chatting away to the whole time about how great Minister White is and what he's done for the people of Naboo, and for petitioning for the green belts to remain and no more expansion of the city. I forgot the name of the city. Go, come on, Daniel. Theed. Petitioning for no further advancement of Theed. It should stay as it is and stick to the cultural bits and pieces. He does have a little bit of a taboo against the Gungans, who kind of were a little bit wiped out, but now are a bit of a nuisance to the swamplands, the ones that survived. So after a few hours of listening to this guy talking, you're entirely fed up, and the ranch comes into view. It's a huge ranch. As you come over the crest of the hill, you can just see it spanning for acres and acres, and you can see all the livestock in their pens, and you can see ranchers out there keeping track, and you can just see this huge mansion, huge outbuildings. It's a big farm. And it lands, drops you off on a landing pad, and then swiftly takes off. But there's no one to greet you. There's no one here. There's no one finding out what's going on. I'm
assuming that's odd.
Well, it's normally if somebody comes and knocks at your front door, or at least turns up in the car, you might have a look. Especially if you live out in the sticks. But there's nobody here to meet you.
Okay, I'll try and head on inside.
Okay. So the pathway from how I have it is, my head from the landing pad is about 100 yards towards the main building. As you get closer to the door, the front door opens, and there is a familiar man in front of you, wearing all white, which is why it's called Minister White. All white with salt and pepper hair and a beard, and he goes, "There's a face I didn't expect to see today. You better come in quick before you get spotted by somebody else." And he ushers you inside and closes the door.
She'll duck inside lively, and then just pop him a kiss on the cheek, give him a little hug, a tight hug,
Yep. So as you give him the kiss on the cheek and give him a hug, and then turn away from him as he goes to close the door and check out, his wife is standing at the stairs going,
He'll run up to her as well and give her exactly the same greeting, a big kiss on the cheek and a lovely tight hug.
"Hello, dear. It's lovely to see you again. Kiss me first in future."
Oh, my apologies.
As you turn back, you see Minister White. He's got like the curtain to the side of the door. Well, we don't have curtains in this universe, but anyway, the way I explained, just he's disappearing out and goes, "Weren't followed, were you?"
I don't think anyone knows I'm here, to be honest.
Well, I'm quite surprised to see you here myself. Last delivery didn't quite go to plan, did it?
You've heard about that then?
Well, how do you think, and who do you think arranged it?
Oh, I see. I had no idea it was a job for you. Otherwise, it would have had more attention.
Oh no, wasn't for me. I just made the connection.
Oh, I see. Okay. Fair enough. Well, I'm glad there was no blowback on you then.
Never on my pockets. And he sort of looks out the window again. He goes, "Sorry about that. Right, come on. Let's go take a cup of tea in the drawing room, and well, I assume you're here for something." And
Are you expecting trouble or company?
trouble normally finds you when you run for governor.
You're running for governor.
He puffs out his chest and holds his jacket. Of course I am.
It was only a matter of time.
Well, businessmen like me can't sit still for too long, can we now?
Not at all. You know, all that moss growing on that white suit just wouldn't work, would it?
No, not at all. Not at all. Mrs. White, could you fetch some tea, please, and some of those wonderful cakes that you made earlier? And she scuttles off to the kitchen, sort of looks over his shoulder and goes, "It's all gone wrong. It's all gone wrong."
What's happened? How can I help?
Well, no, I can't bother you with this, Lynn. I can't bother, but it's a few bad business deals, and unfortunately my reputation has been a bit tarnished, let's say, but which hasn't helped my governor running. You know, they keep finding lots of hidden information. I think it's one of the team. I think they're ratting me out. Anyway, Lynn, what can I do for you? As you hear Mrs. White's footsteps start coming back to the room.
Well, I'm on planets, on business, of course. Not specifically business to do with you. So I figured I'd just pop in and say hi and put you in touch with a contact that you may be interested in doing business with.
Oh, so who's this then?
Well, he's the owner of the Twi'leks Twist, was it? The Twi'leks Twist on
Nar Shaddaa.
Thank you. Couldn't remember it now. On Nar Shaddaa. When I was there trying to get information about who had nicked let's just say who had stuck their nose in our business on the last transaction, he approached me to put him in touch with the surgeon when it came to dealing with exotic livestock. But I thought of you instead. So.
And what's your cut?
You know, I'll take my standard rate.
It's been a while since that rate's been negotiated. But anyway, let's talk about that shortly. Tell me what you need. You wouldn't be coming to me if you didn't need help. I see you didn't bring your own ship.
I didn't. My party and I have... Can we speak freely?
As long as the droid isn't around, of course.
No, he's off on his own mission, so we'll be fine. But is the house secure?
Yes, very secure.
Okay. I'm on a mission for the surgeon, and she'll go into the details and just explain that they're here with a squad and a team to do a break out of the prison. She won't say who they're breaking out, but she'll give the kind of the gist of it, and then explain how we split up and my partner got arrested.
Okay. Oh, that's a tale and a half there, Lynn. Interesting. So, have you heard from your team outside the prison doing the reconnaissance?
I haven't reached out to them, to be honest. I kind of had my hands full trying to figure out how to get Orin back to safety.
Well, I might be able to help with this one, but we might be able to rub each other's backs on this, per se. Maybe I'll take your contact, and depending if the help is necessary, we might call it even. But let's see. So there is a problem. So I say a problem. He is a problem, and well, he currently resides in the same location that your friend is in, but me or my men can't get to him. He somehow has found out information about my dealings. I don't know how, especially being in a prison such as he is. But maybe we could silence him.
I've got no problem silencing someone, especially for you. Is he in the main prison?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Big one. So he's not where Orin is. He's in the other prison. Right?
Oh no, but by the sounds of it, your friend Orin's with the local security force. This gentleman's in that silly pop-up prison. Do you know what? I don't understand why they've built it in that old medical lab. That hasn't been used since the Clone Wars.
I guess it makes sense.
Do you
They
know?
probably had a bunch of security protocols for the investigations they were doing there. Isolations.
Do you know what they used to study there?
I don't.
They were trying to make a disease that only affected the clones. They were shut down a long time by a clone squad. Just 4 troopers. 4 troopers took down that whole garrison.
Ooh, you don't have any details about that, do you?
Oh, I might
Points
do.
of entry, things like that.
Mrs. White, could we have some bantha steaks, please, for dinner? As the time goes on, it's getting towards the later evening, and she sort of just smiles as if she hasn't got a clue what he's talking about. And yes, dear, when someone knows what you're talking about, and she heads off to the kitchen. And he goes, yes, of course. Come with me. And he heads off to his office and takes you and sits you at a desk and pours you some whiskey from a decanter. And he pushes a button and the door locks on his office like a shoots across and down on the windows. And he goes, well, I think this data might help us both. And he pulls out a stick, plugs it into his data pad, and up on the table, it turns into a green hologram, and it's a 3D model of this prison going around. So the other guys haven't got this information yet. A 3D model of the prison showing you from the top levels with the turrets, which obviously you don't know yet because you haven't been there, with the glass section on the top, and then it shows the 4 levels that go down, and it's got little bits of notes going along. Those notes are... You might need these for later, maybe. So the first level is cell blocks and a mess hall.
I need to go and grab my notebook because otherwise I'm not going to remember any of this in 1 hour's time. I am returned.
Okay, so the first level. So this is underneath the ground level, where obviously you see the glass things coming out the top, and obviously all the perimeter. The first level down is.
So this is below ground.
This is below ground, yes.
Okay.
First level down is the cells and the mess hall. You've then got level 2, which is solitary confinement. You've then got level 3, which is high value VIPs, I guess. What are they called? High value prisoners. There we go. High value prisoners and laboratories. And then down on level 4, right at the bottom, you've got the utilities, the generators, and the waste. While looking at this model, you can see that where it goes up to above ground, there's 2 sort of ventilation pumps that come out above ground to obviously pump air into the underground levels. And down at the bottom, you can actually see a waste chute that shoots right off from the very bottom. And he explains it goes, this goes down to a nearby waste pumping facility, and that goes out into the water, it gets cleaned, and everything else from all that waste they produce in there from fecal matter, and good fertilizer, might I add. So I managed to acquire all this information. You can see, by the way, from levels 1, 2, 3, 4, there clearly is stairwells going in the 4 corners, and there's also like a central lift that goes up and down between the bits and pieces. So I help you get Orin. You go into the prison for your friend, I would say, and you take care of my problem. Is that right?
Do you have a list of the prisoners and their current locations?
No, that's ever-changing information, and you'd only be able to get it, and it would only stay static for about a day. So you'd have to get it closer to the time.
And do you know where your guy's being held?
He's being held in the high-value section. I know that much. The high-value prisoner, as he's a political nightmare. He's the one trying to sabotage my career for governor.
What in the world? Why would anyone do that?
What do you know about this this target of yours? Is he low value, high value? What?
Depends on who you ask. To us, he's extremely high value.
Well, it's likely to be on level 3 then.
I imagine so.
Just another bit of information for you. If you do decide to go through the waste pipe, I wouldn't suggest it. Probably smells awful. If you do decide to go through the waste pipe, you won't be able to come back out. That is a one-way ticket. It has a system involved where it pumps the waste. Basically, it's a system that you can go up, but you can't come down. So it's gonna lock itself. How do you explain it? Like a cat flap that only goes one way. So it might let you in, but it won't let you back out the same fashion.
It's quite weird because the waste goes out.
Yeah.
Okay, so the waste pipe is in only. Okay. Cool. And what is the name of this gentleman you want us to take care of?
His name is Mr. Sentu Tibetan. CENTUTIBATTEN. But Lynn, it'd be much better if he just died. Simple and true. Just died. From an OC point of view.
You don't want him extracted and brought to you.
No. I don't want anything to link back to me. I want him destroyed. I want him dead.
What?
From an out-of-character point of view, I think it would be amazing if Lynn just casually walked up to the cell with him and just slit his throat and then just walked away. The other guys would be like, what the hell?
He definitely wants to do something, but I think it'll probably be poison.
What about a garrote?
Yeah, you see, all of that stuff shows murder, you know, and then there's going to be an investigation and why was he killed and who killed him, and if she could just get some poison that's undetectable, or you know, that gives him a heart attack, for example, something like that, I think would be a bit.
I will let you choose and flip a light side point for it, whatever you can find.
Okay. I don't have any light side points. You can see they're all dark side points.
Yes, but when we go back to the main game, I've got the picture of what the light side count was, so we can put it back on. So, do we have a deal, Lynn? I help you with your Orin problem. You help me with my Tibetan problem.
Absolutely. And when you make an absolute killing off of this contact, and she'll um, hand out, I don't want to say a business card, it's more like, yeah, a business card, but she just taps it on his data pad and it transfers the information over. So he's now got a record of them.
No problem. Yes, well, we can talk about the raid if anything happens out of this character. Come and look at the menagerie, and then for the next hour he'll take you through the stables where all the real livestock is, and then he'll push a button which is hidden, and you'll go down into an underground bits and pieces, and you see all kinds of creatures from around the galaxy. Some that are just running loose because they're able to. Some that are in cages and restricted. Something you do see, and you've definitely seen before, is a Rexu. And you see this Rexu. It doesn't look well. It looks kind of in the cage and looks unwell. But there's the one thing that stands out to you as you go through this menagerie of these creatures. Whether it's old and it's just worn out, whatever. It just doesn't look well. You're not a xenologist in that department.
She'll ask about it, just casually, you know.
Oh, I don't think it's doing well in the cage, if I'm honest with you. We've been feeding it, it's been eating and sleeping, but I think it needs to be out doing its job. But he's off to the games soon, so he'll have plenty of hunting.
Ross does not know what a Raxu is.
A Rexu is... I will send the picture to you. Rexu. Okay, I obviously spelled that wrong. I've definitely spelled it wrong. Nexu, sorry, not a Ragsu. I said the wrong bloody thing. Copy image.
Oh, there we go. Cool.
Yeah, sorry, I said the wrong thing.
No, that's fine. I didn't know what an Exu was either.
Oh yeah, definitely. Said
That is amazing.
So yeah, it doesn't look well in this cage. It looks, well, I say it looks well. It looks like very placid compared to what it's been. Oh yes, he's off to the games very soon, and I'm sure he'll be very happy. You know.
Do I know what the games are?
He's referring to basically hunting games. Many planets have them for sport, where they put criminals or people that have been caught doing crimes into an arena, and they either battle and survive the creatures, or they die, basically. You know, but it creates a blood sport for the crowds and keeps people happy. Jabba would probably have one in Tasman. Yes.
Well, my money's on the Nexu.
Mine too, but once I've sold them, I'm not allowed to bet on them. Personal rule: can't bet on creatures I've sold, just in case something goes wrong. Anyway, Lynn, let's go up and see if those steaks are ready, shall we? And he takes you back up the stairs and takes you into a dining room where there's been some lovely plates put on the table and some candles lit. And Mrs. White is sitting there looking completely different as she did before. Before, I imagined her to have a nice pinny on and a big skirt and, you know, very sort of house kind of like
Stepford wife.
Yeah. But now she's dressed all nicely in nice clothes, and she's got her hair put up, and maybe it's because there's a pretty Twi'lek in the house, and she's sitting at the table waiting for you to arrive, and gestures for you to sit, and gestures for her husband to sit. And, oh, cheers! And she holds up a glass of red wine and chings it, and you have a very nice dinner over the course of the hour. And she goes, I'm going to retire now. I've eaten my fill, and it's been a long day. And Minister White continues to drink with you for a little bit longer. Right, so it's coming up for quite late in the evening, and
just one thing during the dinner, Lynn will ignore Minister White entirely and just focus on Mrs. White and just talk to her, flatter her, hear everything about her day and what's going on in her life, and like down to the minutia of the boringest like house chores. She'll just be an ear and be interested and invested in that conversation, just to make her feel better.
Mr. White doesn't see this as wrong. She's the woman of the house, and he just sits there quietly eating his meal and drinking his drink. And eventually, when she goes to bed, he goes, "So, let's deal with your Orin problem. It's currently late night, so let's say it's about 10, 11 p.m. There's a few things we need to get ready in order for you to help your friend out. First, I need to make a telephone call, see if I can get him out under some form of diplomatic immunity. I'll try that first. If that doesn't work, I'm afraid
it's not going to impact your running for governor, is it?
No. I still have Paul in the local government. So just a simple call." And he says, "Oh, come with me." He takes you to the office, and he picks up his communicator, and he walks around chatting to somebody on the telephone, the communicator. Sorry, probably about 45 minutes. He's talking away, and you can hear him get heated at some point, and then it calms down, and then he kind of gets silver-tongued, where he's kind of like threatening with larger words, and then it sort of goes back down again. And he
Do I pick up a name?
Sorry, no, he doesn't ever say a particular name. And he walks back in, and he's sort of rubbing his chin. And he goes, "I'm sorry, Lynn, I can't get him out. You're going to have to try going there in the morning, or trying a break, or whatever you want to do this evening between now and 9 a.m. But I won't be able to get him out through the legal means."
No problem at all. Would it be detrimental to you at all if I wore a token of your favor when I walked in? I won't mention your name.
He reaches into a drawer and pulls out a campaign badge. But this is the only token I can give you, Lynn. I can't use my sway in any other manner. But a lot of people, especially some of the working class of Naboo, appreciate what I'm doing. So it may go for some favour.
Okay. Could you just autograph it?
He kind of looks a bit confused and signs on the badge in a little bit of space. And yes, there we go, and hands it over.
It's just to say that I've actually met you.
Okay. Right, well, Lynn, it's too late to be travelling this time of night. How about you get a few hours rest, sit down nicely, have a sleep, because you look tired. You've eaten a lot of food. You look tired and drunk.
I do not look tired.
Well, nothing's going to happen between now and 9 a.m. So you could either leave now, or you can stay and leave in the early hours.
I'll stay, thank you. That's very kind of you. But that does leave the payment for your problem of Mr. Sentu, Tibetan, undiscussed.
Well, I think if I give you this data, which helps you solve your problem a lot easier, I think we should call it even.
I'm not convinced, you see. I have a team there right now with scanning equipment generating this 3D model themselves. It's likely, not 100% certain, but it is likely that they will have acquired some, if not all of this information you've given me by the time I get back to them.
You always did drive a hard bargain, Lynn. How about this? Between now and you waking up, I will get you a prisoner list.
That is 100% worth it.
Deal. Right, if you don't mind, I need to make a few calls, and I need to go to bed. Before he goes
All
to
right.
bed.
Thank you very much for your hospitality.
He checks the windows before he goes up to bed. You know, he takes you up towards a room, but he's checking all the windows, looking outside again, just bits and pieces. So, going back to the room, are you sleeping? Are you staying up? What are you?
I'll lock the door
Mhm.
and I'll make sure that the windows are locked because something sketchy is going on, and I just want to, be safe.
Okay.
And I'll keep my blaster under my pillow, but I will have a shower, freshen up, go to bed, and get some sleep.
Okay. So you sleep. Let's say it's midnight by the time you go to sleep, and you sleep from then to about 5 in the morning. You know, it's a couple of hours journey back to the time. 5 in the morning, the sun's coming up. It's summertime. You know, you can hear all the animals out in the yard or baying and I say mooing is probably the wrong word, but baying and all those bits and pieces. And you can hear the starting of the working down the farm where young farmhands have got up and started doing bits and pieces. As you unlock your room, get dressed, sort yourself out, unlock your room, and head downstairs, Mrs. White is present. She's downstairs. She has a cup of caff for you and some form of sweet, delicate, like cake. And she goes, "Oh, Minister White isn't quite awake yet. He fortunately had a long night obtaining this for you." And she hands you a data stick. Um, so you definitely are going to sort our problem. Is that right, Lynn? We can count
You
on you.
can count on me.
Okay. Well, look. Here's a little bit for your extra trouble. And she hands you a small little pouch of 200 credits and say, "Okay, I've ordered you. I've ordered you a shuttle. It's due very, very, very shortly. But I need to get back to Minister White. You know, he gets very grumpy in the morning if I'm not there, and I better take him his coffee and calf. Sorry, not coffee." And she shakes it, and she ushers you out the front door, closes the door, and you hear it lock behind you. And then, just a few minutes later, you hear a shuttle come over and land back in the same spot where you were dropped off the day before. Okay.
Cool. Heading back.
So this shuttle driver, it's early. They're not interested in talking to you. I don't expect you're interested in talking to them.
No, I've got my data pad open with that prisoner list plugged in, and I'm trying to figure out like if I can find the name and what floor and cells, and just piecing information together.
Yeah. So you skim down this list. It's a big old list of names, probably about 250, which seems quite a lot. You find in there Lemet Beige, which is the Dr. Lemet Beige, the guy you're looking for. Definitely says that he's being held on the VIP, high value prisoner floor, and he's in cell A8. You also then find on this list over this period of time of travelling, Sentu Tibetan, and it's got a little mark next to his name, political prisoner, and he's also being held in the high value section in C4.
All right.
Okay. So you're looking for all this data as you're going through, seeing what other information you can glean, seeing if you can spot any names that you recognise out of the prisoner list, which there's none that you spot. And the shuttle takes you all the way back to the city of Theed and drops you.
Sorry, I just thought of this now. I was gonna mention it earlier, but when the farmhands are dealing with the animals, right, and the muck and all of that,
Yep.
they must have some sort of suit that they wear, like just to protect their clothes and that type of thing. Would I have been able to take one of those?
You could have asked him for some. Let's
Yeah.
say that they are a specialised overall which that you can put on and basically like a yellowy kind of biohazard suit. That's what I'm trying to think of the word.
Yeah.
They're like yellowy suits with a mask and all sorts. But what are they called? Yeah, a bio suit. Yeah. So you could ask him, and he sends you back with a case with some in if you want them for everybody. That's perfectly fine.
Cool.
So he'll send you back.
Just in case we're going in the waste part, there's no way in hell she wants poop all over her.
No worries. So yeah, he'll send you back with 4, 5, for
Okay.
everybody involved. And the shuttle lands back in Thebes and drops you off, and then takes off again as if it's going to another location. And you throw this bag or whatever you've got these things in over your shoulder, and you start to head to the Ministry of Justice area where you know at 9 o'clock you can go in and talk. So as you come around the corner of this square, and you go, right, okay, I'm going to go sit outside on the steps, just watch the city start its day, listen to the city start up just before it gets to 9 a.m. There's a clock in the middle. It shows about 8:15, so you're like, well, I've got about 45 minutes, I'll sit there. As you start walking up towards these steps, towards the building for the security office, out walks Orin, and he is being followed by a very short, stocky and fat, wide guard in a uniform. Orin is in cuffs in front of you, guard comes out and goes, "Don't worry, I've got this one. Thanks very much, lads. See you tomorrow." And as he walks down the steps, he sort of steps just to the front of Orin and unclips the handcuffs as he gets to you. And Orin says to you, "Ah, Lynn, good thing I met you here. Meet my friend. I promised him a date."
With me.
And he nods. And that's it.
Amazing! I love it!